That is what I was waiting for. I never thought I'd get the giant Doom head, but yes, I've got it. Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week in Review with myself, Jacob's Toys, and of course, wonderful one and only Super Sorrell. Of course, as always, if you enjoy the channel, please do like, share, subscribe, and all of those things. And check out the description below for all of Sorrell's details, and of course, all of our other social networks, shall we say, as well. What a week! What an amazing week!
What a big week!
It has been. It has. If you're a Spider-Man fan, it has definitely been the week to remember. So yeah. So where do we start? Where do we start?
I think the big trailer is where we start, because that was an epic trailer.
The big teaser trailer, the big trailer number 1 for Spider-Man No Way Home.
They showed a lot in that trailer. For the fact that we were only discussing it was only a week ago, we were saying like we might not get a trailer and then go in blind, and now it feels like we've got loads of information about the film.
Oh, I know. There was huge amount in there, huge amount. Yeah, I mean, I did a quick video on it, just kind of like talking about the different things that supposedly were leaked. But yeah, essentially, we know that Doctor Strange is in it. They showed us a good part of that, focusing heavily on 2 of the storylines, the Happy Birthday storyline and the One More Day storyline. Yeah. I think it's really funny because obviously Mephisto is huge in one of those, and obviously all the talk of Mephisto, being in so many of the WandaVision theories. I think that's hilarious. And essentially teased the Sinister Six. We did actually. We essentially got the Sinister Six. So as I said in a video I did, you definitely got Electro, and you definitely got Goblin, and you definitely got Doc Ock. Like those 3 were obvious. The Lizard was one that people are kind of speculating about, because there's definitely something in that cage tank thing. Sandman, bit of a stretch, I think it was, because it could have just been an explosion. But when you actually look at it side by side to how Sandman looked in the films, it's possible. But then there's that one space that's left open. There's one character that we haven't seen. In the video, I kind of threw out all of the other villains that we had seen. So like the Rhino and Scorpion, Shocker, who are the other ones? Mysterio, Vulture, all that kind of stuff. But my personal thoughts, my honest opinion is I think it's going to be someone we haven't seen yet. I think it's going to be a villain that we don't even know exists.
They planted the seed in the last Spider-Man movie when they showed that other scientist that was working with Mephisto. They showed him sort of doing stuff, didn't he? Didn't he take some chips or something at the end? Like he took some computer chips and things with him. He was like working with they were sowing some seed there. They were doing something with that character. Whether or not he becomes, whether or not he then uses, because like basically for that character, for Mysterio, all you need is a hologram. It doesn't have to be a real person at the end of the day. Could he basically replicate what that, Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio as just a hologram, using what he took from when he was working with him, and really play with the mind of Spider-Man?
100%. Well, like you say, the Mysterio character is a video hologram, isn't it?
It could be the man behind the curtain kind of story, and it reveals that it's that scientist from the last film.
100%. Another interesting fan theory out there is obviously Ned's character in the comic books goes on to be Hobgoblin. So are we going to see Hobgoblin? Would that be a switch? I think it could work, because if we've got Goblin in the film, then Hobgoblin, if my comic book memory serves me right, Hobgoblin is somebody that stole one of Green Goblin's suits in the first place anyway.
That's what I was in my mind when someone said about Ned, and then I thought, oh, that's how I'm thinking about how they could do this, because Green Goblin technically is dead. That character in the universe, that character is gone. I'm wondering.
So's Doc Ock.
Yeah, technically. I'm wondering whether maybe Ned, something happens in the multiverse and Ned gets hit with the same green gas that turns him into the Hobgoblin, and maybe the Green Goblin's voice is in his mind.
That'd be cool. That'd be
he hears really cool. That'd be a cool way of giving you the nostalgic, oh my god, it's the Green Goblin from back in the 90s, but with that hit of, it's a new take on the character with Ned playing him.
That would be really nice. I would love to see a Venom tease, because they're obviously talking about a swap, a crossover, aren't they? And there's even talk about Tom Holland's Spider-Man being in Venom, and whatnot. So it will happen. I'm sure it will happen. But
Sony's Spider-Verse, that was always the plan. Apparently, was Tom Holland to cross over into their movies. We were just never sure whether Venom and Morbius and that would cross over into the MCU. But it seems that they're becoming more and more happy with the crossovers with Sony and Fox. So.
Yeah. The thing that I read as well, I mean, this isn't spoilers as such, but I don't know whether you take it as a spoiler or not. But I read somewhere in one of the interviews that the characters that we're going to see aren't the version of the characters that we've seen before.
It's going to be them playing them, but it's a variant, like Loki's variant. It's another variant of that particular version.
And what I thought was interesting about that is if you actually look at what's his name, Alfred. Well, what's his surname? Alfred Milano.
I don't know his name.
Dr. Octopus. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's obviously de-aged, so they've de-aged him. So he's not he's obviously playing the Dr. Octopus from the time that we saw him, as opposed to kind of a progression onto what he became. What I found really interesting about that shot, because that was the money shot in the trailer, wasn't it? You know, hello Peter bit. What I found really interesting, I think they're pulling a Hulk on this one, you know, with the old Endgame trailer where we saw Hulk. I think they're pulling a Hulk because Dr. Octopus is center screen. He's, you know, that shot is about him and all the rest of it. But then when we see Peter Parker and we see Spider-Man, for one, it's CGI. So it could be anything or anyone. They could have literally taken that shot of Tom Holland and turned it into Spider-Man from anywhere in the film and just put him in that scene so that it looked like it things up. But then when you actually look at it, he's off to the side and he's not center shot.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they're one and the same. Same as they've done in the Shang-Chi trailers as well. You know, they've shown things, and you know, there's one bit where I think Katie says like, "Who are you?" or "What's your name?" or something, and then it cuts and it's showing Shang-Chi, but that's not something she would necessarily say. So it's all clever misdirection, isn't it? So I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
The fact that Doc Ock has never met our version of Peter Parker, he wouldn't know that Spider-Man was Peter. Surely not. It's a different suit and everything to what he's used to. He wouldn't instantly go Peter. I think he's talking to
Tobey
Maguire. I think he's talking to Maguire's Spider-Man, who would be center screen at that point, probably closer to the camera. And then
definitely.
Our Spider-Man is in the background.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that. Go on.
Sorry, go on. I was going to say, interestingly, I don't think Andrew, as much as people are going to hate me for this, I don't think Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is going to be in this. I think it's going to be solely based on Tobey Maguire's Spider-Verse. I don't think they're going to bring an Amazing Spider-Man into it just because it wasn't popular enough. Electro was the saving grace of that series, really.
Yeah.
No, their version of Lizard was very not... I can't imagine the MCU using that version of Lizard.
No.
CGI's come a long way in 10 years. And I think they would want to do it justice. And
see, I'd be gutted. I would be gutted because I really liked Andrew Garfield's portrayal.
I did personally. I liked that. And I like the fact that they used Gwen Stacy rather than MJ for a change. I like the fact that they went a little bit different. And it was a good Spider-Man, but I just don't personally. I think the nostalgic factor is going to be using Tobey Maguire. I think if they used all three in one go, that's kind of blowing the wad straight away, so to speak. They could keep it back and maybe use Garfield in another film. If it is the multiverse and the Spider-Verse, he could appear later down the line. Right now, I think it's all about fear.
There's supposedly a load of leaked scene, you know, set photos and stuff that show Andrew Garfield, but I don't know. I mean, we also don't know what the cogs are behind backstage, do we? You know, whether they only have one shot in, so therefore they've got to throw it all into one film. I don't know. Yeah. But I just, even if we don't see the other Spider-Man, because obviously that's what a lot of people have been anticipating, I can't wait to see these villains again and see where that's going and what that kind of brings into the. I just think it's really cool. It lived up to kind of what I expected. And we briefly spoke before about the WandaVision tease that was on there on the calendar.
I missed that.
I thought that was brilliant. I didn't pick up on it. It was only afterwards when somebody said, "Oh, it was hinted at in WandaVision." I don't know whether that's a massive coincidence or it's just Marvel just dropping the deepest Easter egg that they've ever done. If it was intentional, it was genius. It really was absolute genius. Because if you actually go back and watch that scene, they really make a big deal out of August 23rd, but they don't really explain why. And it's just, and then by the time the series wraps, you kind of completely forget about that. So if they did it, hats off to them, because that was an incredible Easter egg. All in all, I was really pleased. I was really happy with it. I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. I've enjoyed all three franchises. It's put Spider-Man on something, and I've loved it. I'm just really excited, and we haven't got that long to wait. It's really not that long to wait.
No, people have been laughing online. It did make me smile. Where they were saying if Doc Ock captures the new version of Aunt May, it'll be a different scene altogether, won't it?
Yeah, it will. You can imagine it kind of totally. It brings a whole new meaning to that scene. Wow. The other thing as well, the couple of other bits that I just want to point out before we move on. So, obviously, we saw Wong, and we saw Wong briefly, but he obviously disappeared into a portal to go somewhere. I really hope that's the link into where he's been or where he goes or something like that. It'd be a really nice tie-in.
It will. And Marvel do that, and we know they do. So obviously, they've got to be careful how they place the timeline now, because if the multiverse has kicked off in Spider-Man, then obviously they need Shang-Chi to be based just before that.
Yeah.
So is that Wong coming home or Wong leaving to meet Shang-Chi, maybe?
Well, they've said that it takes place after Endgame, so it takes place after all of the snap and everything like that. It's just where it takes place on the timeline in comparison to Loki, I guess. Because
now, and like before, we've always used the snap as the kind of, is it pre-snap or post-snap? Whereas now, we're going to be talking, is it pre-multiverse, post-multiverse for the next 10 years?
Exactly.
Is it before the multiverse kicked in? Because from the look of the trailer, when the multiverse kind of happened, it looked like the whole Earth kind of sunk in on itself. It looked very cool how they did the CGI.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the way Doctor Strange looked, didn't it? And there was lots of callbacks to the Doctor Strange film, like the whole punch and the the astral plane version of the person when they're doing that with Peter.
And Peter Parker, Spider-Man's got something in his hand, something like mystified object in his hand when he gets hit.
Yeah.
They're making a big deal out of the fact that he's revealing that it's Peter Parker inside the suit almost and doing the blast. But it's like, what is that thing that he's got? He's holding on to that big block.
Yeah. I read somewhere that there's talk about somehow these villains all get captured and it's Spider-Man that lets them all out because he, that's one of the theories I've read. And that's they're falling heavily on that thing he's holding now and saying, and that's something to do with it. That's some kind of key to, but I don't understand where that story would go. If that is the plot, then I'd be very interested to see where they go with it. The other thing to take note on as well is the Doctor Strange character.
Yeah.
I wonder whether it is the Doctor Strange that we know of. So without going too far down what's he called? Mephisto.
Yeah.
The Mephisto line. Obviously, in that One More Day storyline, I don't know if you've read it or not, but he basically makes a deal with the devil for everyone to forget his identity, and Mephisto takes his marriage. So basically, he says, right, well, everyone's going to forget, including those you love. So Mary Jane forgets who he is and all that kind of stuff. And I wonder how far they're going to go into that, because the trailer made it look like Peter basically fumbled around a little bit and caused this big kind of like, fracture. And surely it's going to be more detailed than just.
Yeah, I think that's a big misdirection. I can't imagine the Sorcerer Supreme got put off by a kid and he messed up the whole timeline. I don't see that. I see the spell being dangerous and something going wrong. I think it was a case of it. My personal opinion on it was that it was a case of, you said you wanted everyone to forget you were Spider-Man. So literally everyone is going to forget who you are.
Yeah.
Even Doctor Strange himself. I don't think Doctor Strange himself knew the limitations of that spell. And even himself is going to forget. And then that's why the fight, because he doesn't know who Spider-Man is. Then the timeline all kicks off and he sees Spider-Man as a threat to the timeline.
What would be really interesting is if everybody did forget who he was, Pepper Potts wouldn't know who he was, and therefore he wouldn't have access to any of Tony Stark's stuff.
That would then put him back to being a street level Spider-Man rather than a cosmic hero.
Yeah. So that would definitely be a good way of resetting it. I found the Doctor Strange character interesting because obviously we saw him in like a black costume, which is reminiscent to some of his costumes in the comic books. But that particular version of him didn't have his cape, didn't have his eye of Augmato. I can never say it, but didn't have his bling. So is that him? Is that someone else? Is that, like you say? And the trains that he was on looked very reminiscent of the trains that Tobey Maguire was on. There was just lots in there. There was so much in there to pick apart, and I'm trying not to go too deep down the rabbit hole because you put too many expectations out, and you.
But I honestly think that because everyone keeps like, and I know that people said like, is it an alternate version of Doctor Strange? I still think it's our Doctor Strange, just because if we're traveling in the multiverse, Doctor Strange didn't exist in the Sonyverse, so I don't think they would do that because it's planting a seed that doesn't exist. So I think it was our Doctor Strange, just because he hasn't got the Eye of Agamotto either, which is true to our Doctor Strange, and I think he's just forgotten who Peter is and he's now trying to fight Peter Parker because he thinks he's a threat to. Because he's the protector of the time and space, isn't he? He's a protector of keeping things in order and what have you. And so I think that's probably where they're going with it potentially.
He's done a rubbish job of it though. Let's be honest. Since he took over, everything's happened. I found it interesting though as well. Even though we saw him in like his casuals, he still had his cape and he still had the eye on as well. Even though technically the time stone wouldn't be in it. So if that was somebody like a variant or an imposter or something like that, it would make sense as to why he was wearing certain things that wouldn't make sense to him wearing. But I don't know.
Let's not forget that entire trailer could have literally just been one giant mess with your head from Marvel because that's what they like to do.
Yeah. I wonder whether we'll see another trailer. I hope we see some kind of little teaser. I think we'll see something to get everyone excited just before it hits the cinemas. But yeah, I'm just really excited about it. I think it's brilliant. All right. So speaking of obviously visuals and what we've been watching, another bit of variance in that, we had another episode of What If. My favorite one, I think, so far. I really enjoyed it. Did you watch it? So did you watch it last week's or this week's?
Yeah.
The Loki one, the Avengers.
Yes, it was very good. I enjoyed it. It was different, should we say?
Yeah, I really liked the idea of what happens. I liked it up until the bit where, like, when Iron Man got killed, I thought that was clever. But then when it kind of went down the dark line of Hank Pym and all that kind of stuff,
I liked it up to a point. The ending was weird.
Yeah,
I didn't see why the ending needed to be that. Personally,
no.
I thought they could have been a bit smarter, but
I really liked the idea of what would happen if these guys didn't happen. Like I only recently watched Iron Man 2, isn't it? Where he gets that particular. Is it Iron Man 2? I watched Iron Man 1 and 2 recently, but it's Iron Man 2 where he's in the donut and he gets the thing in the diner. And I only recently watched that to see that again, but play out differently. It was really interesting. And yeah, so I did like that element of it, but I think it went down a really weird route with.
Yeah, I don't know why. For me personally, I don't know why they just didn't do the Tony Stark died in the cave, Thor was never worthy, and Captain America was never thawed. That would have done it. They didn't have to kill everyone off and have that weird coffin scene with the emblems on. That was just.
That was a bit weird.
They could have just made it like, Tony Stark didn't ever become Iron Man. He just died in that cave from a heart attack or whatever. Yeah. And just have that Thor was never worthy enough, so he's just wandering Earth, never able to pick up that hammer.
No, that would have all made sense. But it was a cool. It kept me intrigued, and then at the end, I was just kind of like, okay, fair enough.
It was a plot device for Nick Fury to have a famous 10 minutes, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah. This week's episode, the one when I say this week, the next one coming up, if I remember rightly, is a Doctor Strange themed one.
Good.
So I'm curious as to whether these, because we've got a Spider-Man one and we've got a Doctor Strange one in the card, and I wonder whether they play into the things that we're going to see in the cinema, or whether these are just completely, on the side.
Spider-Man's a vampire hunter in this one, and he seems to be
zombie hunter.
Zombie hunter. Sorry, Zombie Hunter, and he seems to be wearing the cape of Doctor Strange in the figure form that we've seen. He seems to have the cape from Doctor Strange on. So I'd be interested to see whether the 2 episodes are going to tie into the zombie one later on.
Yeah, I got the minifigures, the Lego minifigures, and I was hoping for some kind of clue from, but it wasn't. I looked at that Spider-Man one head to toe, and it really wasn't. It really was just a Spider-Man suit with a cape. So there was no clue there at all. But yeah, I'm enjoying the What If show. I really am. It's enjoyable. It's fun. I haven't really got any complaints about it. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? It's just a random episode each week that doesn't. You don't have to think too much about it. It's just enjoy that particular story. Yep.
All right, let's get on to the figure news. Let's get on to the Marvel Legends stuff because, as you pointed out before we went on, there's nothing Star Wars. Star Wars have been really quiet. Obviously, there's no Bad Batch. There's no Black Series reveals.
There's massive delays with Star Wars at the moment. All the figures have been pushed back for Black Series. So I mean, there's a massive delay somewhere. Obviously, we're still recovering from a global pandemic. You can't really say too much. You know, there's been massive backlogs in China, and you can't really complain.
Exactly.
It's recovering from a great big global pandemic.
It's not. You know, I think anyone that really kind of complains it's a shame. But
Toys are the last thing they care about right now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I'm losing interest in my Black Series, if I'm perfectly honest. It's just
we've got nothing to go at. It's like a dark time almost feeling. We've got nothing really to look forward to right now.
No, and even to the extent of like the Marvel guys obviously pumping out reveal after reveal and giving you a real timeline of stuff, and the Star Wars are kind of just hanging on there. But I don't know. Hopefully they'll put it out of the bag. They got Hasbro to pick it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Star Wars is going to go quiet for a while because Disney, obviously they work the way they do. They're going to be pushing Avatar for the next few years now. I'm wondering whether Star Wars might take a back foot after Book of Boba. I wonder if they'll give us a bit of breathing room until we get then the bombardment of Ahsoka and the Mandalorian
Obi-Wan
and Obi-Wan. I wonder if we'll have like a breather period while they pump out Avatar 2, 3, and 4 or something daft. And then give us that breathing room. I know they filmed all the Avatar movies back to back. And it's ridiculous to talk about Avatar at this point. How old is the film? 10, 15, 20 years old? We're getting sequels now.
Honestly thought that was a sequel that we were never going to see, but I'm excited for it. But
apparently.
I hope it doesn't date the original because they're obviously done so far apart. I hope it doesn't make the original look really out of date, if that makes sense. Because it was so ahead of its time anyway. I hope that I could watch all of them together and
even after watching more modern films, every time I go back and watch Avatar, I do still enjoy it. I mean,
it's brilliant.
It's Pocahontas in space, but I really enjoy it every time I watch it.
Pretty much. All right, so let's get on to the figures. Yes. Let's talk about the Marvel Legends. What did they have? The Fan First. Was it Thursday this
time?
I'm losing track. They literally just throw a different day of the week behind Fan First and go live whenever they want. So what did we have? Let's have a look. We had the Eternals wave. They kind of skimmed over that, didn't they? Because we
already know about it. It seemed daft to linger on it when we already seen it thousands of times already. And Yahoo did that reveal before they did.
Oh, I know. So I know that was obviously it went on to Yahoo and it didn't leak as such. They're official images, but I don't think that was planned. I think that there was a bit of a timing issue there. But the guys on the Marvel Legends team, they even kind of made a joke out of it, didn't they? They sort of said, these are the ones that you've seen. But I'm really excited for that wave. I think the film's going to surprise people. I think it's going to be one of those ones that people are like, actually, this is a really good film. And to have a full set within a wave, we mentioned, I think it was last week, that, to have them and, being able to kind of display the whole setup straight away in one wave is really great. Okay, so after that, we saw the rest of the Spider-Man Far From Home wave. So we'd already seen, who had we already seen? We'd already seen Doctor Strange, Black Suit, regular
Black
suit,
integrated Spider-Man. Those we knew about.
JJJ.
Yeah.
So then obviously they showed us Morlan, which we'd kind of guessed, hadn't we? We were hoping for Morbius. And they even mentioned that people thought it was Morbius, which I thought was cold. I was like, Don't talk about what we could have had. But I thought he was great. It was a new mold. I think it was you that said that you thought it was going to be the Hellfire one, but they've actually given us a new jacket,
mold,
which is cool, which is really nice. I would have been really happy with it as a reissue on that Hellfire Club body. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't have complained massively, but to have that new mold.
Yeah, it would have fit that figure. That's why I thought they were going to do it, because it would have, the costumes I've seen of Mullen anyway would fit that look anyway. Just a long jacket would be needed, and that would be it.
100%. We also saw Shriek. We had called that. We said that was going to be in it.
I'm a version of Shriek.
She's a basic figure. You can't really do a lot with her, so I'm really pleased that they've done that female.
But you saw the new body that she was on, right? You saw
that's it. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I'm really happy that they've taken a figure that really is quite basic, but given her something new, so she is going to be desirable. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that looks like in hand as well.
Do you know what I'm excited about more than anything? Double hinged elbows on a female body.
Oh, I know. At last, eh? It's for as long as I remember, people have been calling out for them. But yeah, yeah. No, I'm really excited for that one. And obviously, she brings us one step closer to having the Maximum Carnage kind of set up. We've got a handful of the characters now, so there's a couple more there, but we'll do a deep dive into that maybe on another show. And then the Bath, the Build-A-Figure.
Yeah, can you please? I know you're more of a comic book nerd than me. Armadillo, who the hell is that? I didn't even know who that was. I had to look him up.
Can't tell you, mate.
I've never read a comic with him.
He's not. From my memory, I think he's a villain, obviously.
Yeah.
I think, if my memory serves me right, he did have a very brief stint of going kind of hero, anti-hero at one point. But he is not he's not one of my... No,
he's not one that I'm familiar with at all.
I've got nothing on that. I love it as a figure. To look at as a figure, it's great to see something that was kind of predominantly new sculpted, and it looks huge. It looks bulky.
Oh, yeah.
And there are so many opportunities now for them to go forward with that. I think the first thing was that, a potential updated Rhino on that kind of size, and that would look amazing. But there's a handful of other characters that would look great off that as well. So, but yeah, as an actual character, I wasn't overly excited. I wasn't my personal opinion with Build-A-Figures, I love them as a concept. I really do love the concept of, buy them all, get another one. It's bigger, it's bulkier. And I think it's one of my favorite things about the Marvel Legends line. However, I think in recent years, especially, it's really hit and miss. 9 out of 10 times, the Build-A-Figure are kind of like okay, cool, as opposed to like that's what I wanted. Like that's.
Yeah. For me, it's become a way of, I know it sounds awful, recouping a bit of money from the wave. Yeah. And half the time, like the last few I've had, like Zemu, whatever we call it. I don't know who that is. I think the last true Bath figure that I probably got and was like, wow, was Wendigo.
Yeah.
He was the last one that I kind of went, oh, I've actually read a comic with you in.
I moved on my Mr. Hyde. I'm not gonna lie.
I kept Mr. Hyde just because I'm a massive Universal Monsters nerd. So I've got him stood with that more than Marvel Legends. He's not even with the Legends anymore. He's with the monsters.
See, he fits in that Monsters universe perfectly. I don't know. I put him on my shelf, and he was the first Build-A-Figure that I've had in 4 years, maybe. Bearing in mind, at one point, I had a complete collection from 2014 to 2020. Literally everything that had come out, I had in one shape or form. And he was the first Build-A-Figure that I got that I was like, you know what? He doesn't look like he fits in my collection.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't look comic book enough to fit with these guys. And I'm not a massive fan of him in the comics. So I'll be kicking myself if they obviously go down the Monsters universe and we get, we're going to be getting a Werewolf by Night. That's already been teased. We're going to be getting updated Dracula. So I will be kicking myself and I'll be chasing it. But yeah, I was kind of like, nope, move on. But yeah, the Armadillo Build-A-Figure, I was kind of like, okay. And they obviously showed us. Go on.
Sorry, this is the first wave, I've got to be honest, that I've decided to scale back and just get a few characters that I want from it. I've not gone for the full wave this time. I'm really scaling back on MCU. I've not bothered with any of the recent MCU releases because I just feel like we're getting the same things pumped out all the time. I don't need 50,000 Iron Mans. I don't need 1,000,000 Spider-Mans.
No.
So it's like I've decided to scale back a bit now. I've already got 2 Doctor Strangers already. Do I really need this one?
Whereas I've got 50 Iron Man in that little cabinet. Nice. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I do know. I totally agree. I fall on that very dangerous middle ground where I collect both. And there's part I've tried to flip a coin and decide to stick to one or the other, but I can't do it.
I've personally gone for, in this wave, I've just gone for the Miles Morales from the Sony game, and I've gone for Marlon, and I've skipped the rest.
Oh wow!
I've just gone for the 2 this time. Well, the last few waves, I felt not let down, but just I don't need all these characters in my collection. Just the amount of things that I buy for my channel anyway.
Of course,
it's like I just like, I don't need all these figures. And the Builder figure I really didn't care about, so I'm like, yeah, I'm skipping a lot of this wave because it's an MCU heavy wave, so I've just skipped a lot of it.
Yeah, but that was the other one as well. Totally missed that one out. But Miles Morales, from the game. Now I'm still to start the game. I literally have it in I've had it since release. I just haven't had time to sit down and play it. So I've promised myself, I was like, you know what, I'm going to wait. And it was around this time, I was like, well, I have a bit of spare time on my hands. I'm going to sit down and just play it through, because I don't like getting a game and then having to leave it for weeks or months or whatever. And obviously I'm kind of past the age of where I could just sit in my underwear all Saturday and just play the computer, you know? So, but yeah, so I'm focusing on that over the next couple of weeks. But I was really excited. It was when they revealed it. I think it's one of the first reveals in a really long time where I've kind of actually said something out loud, as in like, yes, like awesome, because we knew it was coming because we had that invisible version. But yeah, I just thought it's a really nice looking figure. A lot of the comments on my Instagram page anyway were about how it obviously doesn't look like Miles from the game. I think they could have put a bit more detail into making it look a little bit more like Miles, but it was a bit of a lazy head cast.
I'm not too bothered for the head cast. I've literally just gone for, I needed a Miles Morales that would fit in my collection that wasn't a skinny little kid, because I feel like every Miles we've had so far is like a young Miles, whereas this feels more of a taller, maturer looking Miles figure that I could imagine standing with the rest of the Spider figures rather than so I think I've got the Spider-Verse version, and then the really early version we got from that really back in day wave with
that was
Goblin or something, that Bath figure with Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, that's one.
It's that way. I mean, I've got them too, so I'm like, I really needed this new updated version.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a massive Miles fan, so I'm really pleased for it. So obviously, well, I suppose while we're on the talk of that, they also teased a load of stuff as well, didn't they? They also showed the stuff that didn't have release dates. So we had the Excalibur box set that obviously Dan Who got the exclusive and showed us Captain Britain, and then obviously they showed us the box set afterwards, which was really cool. I was really pleased about that. I was like, yep, instant buy. Let me know where, when, and how. 100% all over that. And I think it sets up the rest of the team come in nicely, because obviously we've got a handful of the characters now, with Nightcrawler having a recent release and all the rest of it. But I thought it was really nice. My only nitpick, I suppose, I wish they put Excalibur on the box as opposed to just X-Men. I thought that was a bit lazy, but either way, I was really pleased. That Shield Army Builder 2-pack, I thought was one of the most interesting.
Very accessory heavy and lots of face sculpts. You could definitely build off that. It
was kind of like a diversity pack for army builders, wasn't it? It was like literally however you want to build that army, whatever characters you want in there, you really could. But I thought it was really cool that they were giving us kind of plain head sculpts, which from a customizing point of view and from a photography point of view, it's great to kind of have that opportunity. I think
civilians as well, because like some of those faces are generic, so you could put them on a civilian style body and use them as just people that you need just in background characters, foreground and stuff.
I think the only drawback, I suppose, would be if you did buy 2 or 3 packs to kind of army build as intended, you're going to end up with a ton of kind of vanilla faces, like faces that mean nothing. But either way, I thought that was good. And obviously we saw the Skrull as well in a single pack release, but with 2 head sculpts, which is really cool. And actually going back to the Spider-Man wave, the JJ we saw had an alternative head sculpt that we hadn't seen previously. I'm gutted that he didn't have hair. I wish that they'd given us a with hair and without hair, young and an old.
That too.
Morlan as well. He had an alternative head. I don't know if you noticed that, but there was
the
two
one
heads
with the
in
teeth.
there. Yeah, so that was cool.
Face, didn't it?
I think that was the only one. And then they gave us. Go on.
I was saying, what did you think? We haven't really talked about the Spider-Man suits. I know we've kind of had those for a while now, but looking at the different suits, I mean, what do you think? We had the Spider-Man No Way Home suit, we had the black and gold suit, and then the integrated suit. What do you think about those suits?
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I think the integrated suit is kind of like the updated Iron Spider suit, isn't it? Is that what they're calling that one?
Yeah, they called it the integrated suit.
Yeah, I think that's going to be his version of kind of, because he's got that tech, hasn't he, where he can build the suits and everything. And I think that's his way of just having a spin on it and kind of doing a bit of both. I think I prefer it to the Iron Spider. I think it looks really nice. I think it's a really nice design. But the black and gold one, I don't know. It's
the black and gold one has red there.
Yeah.
And when you look at the integrated spider suit, it has red there. Okay. I'm wondering whether basically he starts out with the No Way Home suit. It's basically the same suit we saw him in the last film. He's got that new updated suit that he built for the final fight of the last movie. Then he's got the new black and gold suit. Is the integrated suit those two suits put together to create the new Iron Spider? Because it's integrated. The word integrated, it means he's put something together. So I'm wondering whether it's both costumes and he likes a bit of both. So he's put the two together.
Well, okay, working on that theory then, one of the toy lines, I think it might have been Hot Toys. If you actually look closely at the black and gold suit, it looks like there's a lot of kind of circuitry and stuff in the kind of the pattern of it. Yeah. And there's a lot of talk about it being like an electro suit. Because obviously famously in the costumes, he created suits to fight the various different villains, didn't he? So he would be going up against Electro and he would come up with an electric resistant suit and that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of talk of that one being something to do with Electro. My
little down the rabbit hole theory was because I saw all that circuitry and things, and Miles Morales can disappear because of his suit. that isn't an ability, is it? That's from the suit, as far as I'm aware.
No, it's his ability.
Oh, is that his ability?
Yeah. He can go. Yeah, he can go invisible.
I was wondering
he can go invisible. He can shoot lightning. He's just a pimp.
I was wondering whether that black suit that we see Peter wearing in the trailer was then maybe given at the end of the film. Do we meet Miles and he gives Miles that suit as his first suit because it's not black colors and stuff.
It's not got to be comic book accurate, has it? It could easily be something along them lines.
They're never comic book accurate because they don't look right from comic book to film usually.
No. I would really like to see, I've said this before, I'd love to see Miles Morales brought into it from this film. Whether that's even just even if it's just a hint at who Miles is, or we meet him or something like that, just so that it opens something up. But speaking of the different suits, they also showed us the Walmart exclusive Spider-Man suit. Now that is very much what we've had previously, but just updated. And when you actually look at the pictures side by side, the new version is definitely the more superior. But it's kind of falling down that pattern that we've seen now, where they kind of give us a figure like Vulture, and then a few years later they go, "That was great. Here's a better version," and you're kind of stumped. But yeah, I mean, it's an instant buy, isn't it? If you're a fan of MCU Spider-Man, it's the perfect version, isn't it?
And it comes with that new fancy Tom Holland head.
Yeah, that's I thought personally that Tom Holland head looked really good. I thought it looked really good, and I've got all of the previous ones because of the various different Spider-Men that I've got. And my favorite one is the one that comes in the 2-pack with the Iron Spider. It's a really good head sculpt, and this looks similar, but just looks like it's got a better paint app. And I thought it was a really good head sculpt. And on Instagram, and I put it out, and I said, an amazing head sculpt. The amount of comments of people hating on it.
I saw
hating on it. I was just kind of like, really? Like, this is like, have you seen the other ones we've had previously? Like, should we talk about that Infinity War Captain America that we got with the spiky hair? Like, come on, this is a good head sculpt. So, but yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think it's definitely, if I can get my hands on it, 100% be having it. And are these the first figures that are starting to use face sculpt, the face scan technology now as well? They mentioned obviously the face scan technology they've been using for Star Wars for a lot of years. Yeah, it sounds like they're starting to use it on Marvel now, because obviously they're bringing it in. The new Tom Holland head and all of the new Eternal Wave were based upon face scans. Yeah. So the face sculpts in Marvel Legends have been getting better and better, haven't they? So it's Yeah, I just think that as a reveal, they really gave us a lot of stuff. And I'm not a huge fan in the props and replicas kind of side of it. I've got a War Machine helmet, I've got a Mando lid, and a lightsaber. Everyone's got to have a lightsaber, haven't they? But that Iron Spider helmet, I was kind of like, this is quite tasty. Like, this is, yeah, I was really quite intrigued by that.
I'm waiting to see it in hand. Yeah. Just because the masks, don't get me wrong, they're brilliant. They tend to be very plasticky, and I can't imagine a spider mask that's meant to be fabric being very plasticky.
No, well, that's why they did this one, isn't it? Because this one is supposed to be kind of Iron Spider and it's metal of some. So I think the only way that they'll be able to really knock it out of the park is if it's similar to the Mando helmet that we got, where that literally looks like it's made out of Beskar. They need to go down that road. They need to put that little bit of extra time and money into it to really make it something special. But I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a really good addition. And I think for anyone that collects the helmets, collects the props, to be able to have a Spider-Man on that, because that's one thing that line has definitely been missing, because you can't just kind of get a fabric mask and lay it out. You needed to have something like this. So I think that they've definitely done a good run with that. And like you said, I'll be interested to see what it looks like in hand. Definitely. But yeah, I think that was everything that they revealed. Was there anything else on there?
A few more things.
Was there? What did I miss?
Yeah. Skrull Infiltrator.
The Skrull. Yeah, with the two heads. Yeah, that was good. I'm pleased with that.
With the little blasters that were teased a while back, and we finally see what they were. A lot of people did say Skrull straight away.
Yeah, we knew it was coming. We knew that was coming.
And then, of course, we had the Silver Surfer 17,000 backer unlock, which gave the new Silver Surfer and the fancy little plastic piece that makes Galactus hold him.
You know what? With all the Galactus news, I completely forgot that they revealed that on there. Now, I was kind of, when they showed a Silver Surfer, tell me if you were the same, but I was very much kind of 50-50, because straight away I was like, that's not as good as my Walgreens one. The Walgreens one is still superior. Then they showed us the head sculpt, and I was kind of like, why have you done that? Why have you given us the better head sculpt on a not as good figure? But then they didn't give us any of the updates that we were hoping for. You can still see that there's a single peg on that surfboard. That's not a new board. That's a reuse. They gave us the same effects that we've had, time and time again. They didn't make it chrome. They didn't make it metallic. The head sculpt was a definite plus, without a doubt. And then they gave us the stand, didn't they? They gave us the little flight stand.
Yep.
And I thought that was a real nice touch. I think that the Nova flame stand and the Silver Surfer kind of purple stand, I thought they were both really nice touches. But it didn't make the backers jump a huge amount, did it, at the time?
What did make it jump, though? Because something did. Because we seem to have unlocked a lot of things very quickly.
Yeah.
It was crawling for weeks, and then, all the European as well, all the extra backers.
Yeah, I think there was definitely the kind of fear of missing out, wasn't there? Because we hadn't unlocked Nova. We were really teasing the edge of the actually getting it backed. And then all of a sudden we've got all of the tiers unlocked as well. Just before we go on to Galactus, though, because that we talk about that to kind of round us up. There wasn't anything else. There was only that tease at the end, wasn't there, with the plate?
Oh, the tease. Yeah.
There wasn't anything else. That was all the figures, though, wasn't it?
That was all the figures.
And then Ryan showed us that Toy Biz logo plate. I have no idea what that means. Are they going to? Yeah. Are they going to do like a Toy Biz like honorary wave, like focusing on some of the Toy Biz figures, or?
How many years has it been, did they say? Was it 10 years of Marvel Legends or something? No, it's been longer than 10 years, isn't it?
No. It's like 2002 they started.
Right.
2002? Yeah.
So next year is going to be a big year for them then?
No, it can't be 2002. Hang on.
I bet it was,
I think it is. I'm actually looking at my website. Little dig here. Let's have a look. I've got the full archive on there. It was a project I did last year. 2002, yeah.
Wow.
I knew it rang a bell. So 2002 was the year that we saw the wave with Toad and all the rest of it. And we haven't actually had a Toad since that 2002 version, have we?
No.
But then obviously it went through Toy Biz, and then there was the 2011 where it, like, literally 2011 you got one figure. It was the Thor San Diego Comic-Con special edition, and then it picked up. But the actual Marvel Legends that we know of now, like the Infinite series, started in 2014. So the kind of the rebirth of what we know to be Marvel Legends now started essentially in 2014. But the actual toy line has been going since 2002. So yeah, so we're coming up to the 20-year anniversary.
20 year. So I was wondering whether they're going to give us maybe a best of the 20 years wave, where they might do, because like I couldn't imagine Hasbro doing a Toy Biz only line. That wouldn't make sense.
No,
because we don't need all of those figures. You know, there's not many that haven't been reproduced at this point. There's only a handful, isn't there? Really?
Yeah, only a couple.
So I would imagine something like Toad, who everyone's been crying out for. If they could remake Toad in the style of the Toy Biz one, but modernize it.
Yeah.
And that could be like the Toy Biz era from that. Like I can imagine, because there's been a lot of the different waves, haven't there? Because we had like the return of Marvel Legends. We had the Marvel Legends. We had Toy Biz Marvel Legends, the return of Marvel Legends. They all had different names, didn't they?
Oh yeah. There was
the years.
As I said, the Infinite series was the one that we got 2014, and that's essentially what we know to be true now.
And we've had Epic Heroes was another one. That
Epic Heroes,
I remember the Deadpool that I got from that wave.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what other ones we've had. But yeah, I can imagine, I wonder if they're going to make like a best of wave where they have all the original logos on there. Like,
that'd be good.
I could imagine that'd be a way of celebrating 20 years.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely have to go back and honor. Yeah, definitely. Maybe that's what that is then. Maybe that's what that is. And they're going to do a different base plate for each of the figures underneath each of the brands. So you'll have that one that was the kind of Toy Biz looking one, and you'll have like you say the Epic Heroes and that kind of stuff. Because they did tease they showed us the base plate that you used to get in the Epic Heroes, the little hexagonal things as well.
And because I think a lot of people as well have been, because they've given us like a couple versions of like Warbird, Warpath. A lot of people are still crying out for that one that I've got, the more expensive black suit one that everyone knows Warpath are wearing.
Yep. Yeah.
So I could imagine them re-releasing that, modernizing it again, but giving us the black and the X-Force one, especially because we've got a lot of X-Force characters coming out again. They've more or less given us the whole X-Force in modern Marvel Legends. He's the missing one.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. That would definitely work well, wouldn't it?
I think it could be a very good fan heavy series, that if they played the cards right.
That would work. Yeah, I'm down for that actually. I'm just having a look now on little plug here, but the Marvel Legends archive at jacobstoys.co.uk. But I'm just having a look through at the different ones that I've done. And there are loads. And obviously we've had things like the Riders and the Face Off series as well that we had.
Is there any Riders they've not reproduced at this point that were in the original wave?
Oh yeah, there's loads. There's loads.
Could they give us like another Rider based on the original Rider series?
Hawkeye is one that's in it. So there's a Hawkeye Riders.
Oh, there you go. Hawkeye's big next year.
But he's always in the background of one of their displays, that particular Rider figure. And people are actually, in Dan Who, because Dan Who did an interview with them, and there was a load of people like Nerdsodic, and they all had their kind of 20 minutes, didn't they? And Dan mentioned the Riders series. And at the time he mentioned it, Ryan turned around and got the Hawkeye off the shelf and like put it down in front of him. But Dan didn't mention it. He didn't even pick, I don't know if he picked up on it or wasn't allowed to or whatever, but he mentioned the Riders, and Ryan literally kind of went like, here's a rider. It was crazy. It was absolutely, but
looking at your website.
Yeah.
They showed us that original Marvel Legends Toy Biz logo. There's also been, we happened to get 5 figures in a wave?
Yeah.
Plus a bath. Yeah. And there happens to just be 5 Marvel Legends logos. So if they did 5 base plates, one with each logo on it, and gave us 1 figure from Toy Biz, 1 figure from 2007, 1 from 2012, 1 from 2014, 1 from 2016, each using the logos of the past and calling it best of 20 years, give us a bath that we've not had for a long time, reissue it, and that'd be a killer wave. Then they could throw in a few extras like the Rider series, a deluxe figure. They could throw those in as extras, like to go with the wave.
That would be. Oh, you're gonna get my hopes up now. That'd be really cool.
Again,
that would be that'd be really good. All right, let's talk about the big one then. Let's round it off with a big one. So Galactus has been fully funded. The backing close is on the what was the date? The 30th of August. So by the time this goes out, backing would have officially closed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked that it hit the mark. Like we all knew it was going to. I just think it was a very unexpected journey.
It was a slow burner. It was a slow burner.
It was a very unexpected journey. I don't know whether the guys there thought that it was going to just explode like the Sentinel did. My theory is I don't think they thought it would hit the Silver Surfer tier. Or if it did, I don't think they thought it would surpass it. Because obviously everything we've had after that was digital renderings. And this is also what we're getting. But we knew about Nova. We knew about Silver Surfer. The Morg figure looks awesome. Like, I'm not going to lie. And I think that definitely got a handful of people on board.
Yeah.
But then everyone seems really disappointed that was it. We're just 3 heralds, no more, no additional accessories, no special effects. Like literally you get your figure, your face plates, your 3 heralds. And then they threw a curveball, didn't they? They threw, and I know you loved it. I know you.
I had a good giggle as soon as I saw it announced. I was like, "What is that?" It's from some obscure comic book that I've not seen a single person like rave about it, as in like, yes, this is what we were waiting for. It's from, when's that comic book even from? It seems like it's the most obscure book on the planet that no one's read. Not many people have read. You have to be a die-hard Galactus fan for that.
It really is. It's so obscure that I couldn't even tell you. It couldn't even tell you. I had to kind of deep dive a little bit to kind of remember what had happened and kind of kind of briefly remember that. That was.
I think it's because as well, and I know it's not meant to be this way, but I honestly think they had Morlun as the final tier, and I think that faceplate was meant to be the next one. I don't think they thought they were going to hit that amount, so I assumed that they moved. They kind of went, we need to give them something extra for the money they're paying. So tell you what, we'll throw Morlun in. We'll do the Morlun tier first, and then we'll keep
Morg.
That other thing.
Not Morlun. Morlun's in the way.
Sorry, Morg. the Morg figure. I think they kind of went, we're never going to hit it. So we'll tell you what, we'll put the Morg figure in the thing, and we'll put that as an earlier tier, and that faceplate will never see the light of day. And then all of a sudden it hit, and they have to announce it. You've got this faceplate coming, and it felt for me anticlimactic after all this build. You've got 3 figures, and then a faceplate to round it off at the top tier. No,
massively. I just think for some, it perfectly illustrated the whole journey of this Galactus. Like, I think it's an amazing looking figure. I think the heralds are great. I think the accessories are great. I think the design and the teams there, they've done their job. Like, there's no complaints there. But I think that the fact that they threw in basically just a reprinted, resized Doctor Doom head, as that, like you say, the pinnacle kind of, here we go, we've got it, we've smashed it, have this, and everyone's kind of gone, the fuck. It's like, it just massively kind of highlights the journey for me. Can you imagine being that one person that saw that and was like, yes, that is what I was waiting for. I never thought I'd get the giant Doom head, but yes, I've got it.
And I mean, I'm a massive Hasbro fanboy. I speak out. I know I very rarely speak out against Hasbro. I tend to keep my opinions to myself. But even I had to make fun of that one. I was like, what is that?
Oh, yeah.
What is that? It's called?
And I think everyone will. I can't imagine anybody. Wrong with it.
It's not like it's bad or anything. It's perfect. It's beautiful looking. But it's just random.
It's just totally random. It's like, like I said,
that should have been tier 1.
Yeah, it's just the freebie. You know, are you thinking about backing Galactus? If you're thinking about backing it, have a giant Doom head. Like, it's just, this is our introductory offer. This is the This is what you get at a discounted rate as a possibility that you're going to be joining. But I don't think for a second. I think, like you said, I don't for a second think that it was a thought out marketing strategy. I think it was literally a case of what have we got that we can throw together as a last minute thank you, because the backers did soar through the roof in that last kind of couple of days. And I think they've kind of gone, oh, Doom was Galactus at one point. We've just got a Doom head. Let's resize that, repaint it, and we'll throw that in as well as an extra. But everyone's expectations were something big, and it was kind of like, okay. I can't imagine anyone's going to display it. No one's going to pay $400 for an action figure and then put on that head to display it with. So
it's gonna be, like I said on my thing, it's gonna be one of them heads that's gonna someone like ourselves, probably reviewers more than anyone, is going to use that head just for a quick photograph, and then it's going to sit in a drawer.
Yeah, definitely. Or I'll try to fit it onto my actual Doom figure and do some kind of bobblehead.
Originally, when they announced it, I assumed wrongly that it was going to be a 6-inch Doom Galactus.
Oh, how amazing would that be? Like, I would have that right down.
Yeah.
Oh,
I assumed that was what it was. I didn't realize it was just the faceplate they were giving us. It took me a minute to realize what they'd done.
That would have been I was half expecting an Iron Man head. Like, you know what I mean? Like, give us a Deadpool head or an Iron Man head. But no, I don't know. I'm pleased it got backed. My only concern now is what's next. Yeah. Are they going to go bigger, or are they going to bring it back and go smaller? I don't
think
know.
it always for me, I don't think it always needs to be something like these giant things that they're producing for 400 odd pounds. Maybe do it. They could do like a Haslab wave and give us a new wave of figures, but only if we back them. So then they know the factory's going to get the money back or whatever and make a bit of profit out of it, rather than release it as a retail wave. Do it as a fan exclusive on the website, Haslab wave. I think that would sell better.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Or as I said, I think I've said this on a previous one, like bring it back and do something like a Thing Fang Foom or something that you could do for 150 quid. You back it. There's no tiers. There's nothing like that. It's just a case of backing's open for 30 days. It costs this much money. If you want it, sign up.
I think the tier thing comes from more of the Kickstarter kind of campaigns, doesn't it? That's where those things come from. I think they feel like they have to do that. Whereas I wish they would just go, this is what you're going to get for your money. Here's what it is. There's no additional tiers. You just get this for your book. I'd prefer them to do that.
And I think this Galactus project is going to make or break the future of it. I think that they're either going to go big again, and here's the billion tiers that you can open up, and this is the price tag, and you need to remortgage your house and whatnot. Or they're going to kind of go, right, let's bring it right back and then go big again later on. So I don't know. I'm hoping for it to be brought back.
It could be a big hit for Haslab, because did the Transformers one finally get back to it eventually? Because I know that were like a slow burner as well, wasn't it?
I don't know, actually. They've released a new one though, haven't they?
Yeah, there was like an old Transformers one that took a long time to get back.
Yeah, the Omnicron, or I'm not big on my Transformer names, but it's the big planet one.
Yeah. And then
I
obviously,
think it did.
Galactus has taken a long time to get backed.
And but it didn't need extending. There was no extension.
I'm wondering whether the Star Wars one, the next one we're going to get for Star Wars, is going to be the make or break for the Haslab Project style stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's the Rancor, isn't it?
Board. Yeah. But again, a lot of people, I've heard a lot. Sorry, I can talk over it. A lot of people that I've spoken to do keep saying, "Do I need it? Is it what? Do I need that?" It doesn't really fit anywhere.
And like we said at the beginning, Star Wars have slowed down. They've gone quiet, and due to no fault of their own in a lot of ways with all the delays and stuff. But is that the market that's going to have people backing something big? At the moment, are they a group of collectors that are going to back something big, or will people back it because everything has been quiet? I don't know.
I think because of this quiet period, with the fact like we're saying, they've got no films really to base anything on. Is it a time where we do need Hasbro to make something like what kind of did with the Shadow of the Force and all that? Do we need something modern version of that where they just make their own line of figures based upon the Star Wars universe, just have a bit of creative freedom with it?
Yeah, quite possibly.
Even just a modernized version of those figures. To be fair, if they release those, that'd sell on a vintage card back. Hell yeah!
They could put a lot of things on a vintage card back, and people would buy it. I think at this stage. Yeah, I don't know, but we haven't even seen like product images of like the Mace Windu and General Grievous and stuff like, which I thought we would have seen by now, which is a shame.
I think they're saving it for. It's the end of it's only like a month away now. I think they're saving it for October. There's going to be some big reveals.
Oh yeah, October, I think. Oh yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. It's going to be. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot.
The fact that I had the email the other day from Hasbro going, "Are you available on these dates? And are you interested in working with us?" And I've had that email kind of touchy feely. How what are you doing on these dates?
Yeah,
I'm like, okay. So
exciting times ahead. There, exciting times ahead. But no, I think it's going to be. I think this year's HasCon's going to be more juiced up, just because last year obviously it was needs must because obviously lockdowns and stuff like that. Whereas this is a lot more planned and a lot more thought has gone into what's going to happen. So I think that we're in for a real tsunami of reveals and exciting things to come. So
and another Tenacious D concert.
Yes, that would be a lot of fun. That would be amazing. I love Jack Black. Following him on all the socials, he is just something else. His Iron Man videos of him around the pool in his pants, and the Thor one, it's just brilliant. What a character. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's, it was a big week. There was a lot out, but mainly Spider-Man dominated. Spider-Man saw the light of day. Galactus got backed. Star Wars is still a no-show. It's like that's the week. That is the week in review, basically. Anything else massive before we kind of round it up? Anything else that you saw?
Nothing really. It was a very, other than I don't think. Would you release anything up against Spider-Man?
No.
If you were a company and you knew you had a reveal coming out that Friday, after that Thursday, you just wouldn't bother.
You would just go quiet. One thing I did read as well is that trailer has exceeded all previous. Did you see that? It outdid Endgame's watch time or something like that. So
it's been retweeted all over the internet. It's appeared on TikTok's Instagram reel, everything. It's been dissected to hell, that trailer now.
It is everywhere. So and Tom Holland even tweeted as well and said that we've seen the tip of the iceberg, which I think is really exciting. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. But we've got Shang-Chi before that. Like that comes out like next week. So
that's it. But isn't it this week when we're recording? Isn't it this week? Isn't it this Friday?
Oh yeah, no, it is. It's 3rd of September.
So by the time we come back together to record again, we should have both seen the movie, hopefully, or maybe not.
We should have.
But yeah, hopefully.
No, I'm hoping to get there this weekend. So this weekend coming. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, that's Oh, well, maybe we'll have that to talk about. Maybe we'll have
a Shang-Chi week next week.
Maybe it will. All right. Well, listen. If that's everything, Sorrell, I don't think there's anything else. I think Spider-Man took over, as you say. Galactus got back. Happy days. We'll see. Yeah.
There was nothing else in toy news. That whole Disney thing went quiet. Apparently, it's a week-long celebration, and they've gone awfully quiet on us on that. So I've not heard anything else. And literally, the toy news this week was Galactus, the Haslab, and that was basically it. Nothing else has really come out except Mego. Mego announced that they're redoing all the Planet of the Apes stuff. Other than that,
happy days.
I'm not big on Planet of the Apes. I've got no clue.
No, I'm not. I know there's a big fan following behind it, so happy days for them. So did we back Galactus? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. It's like, did we hit the button? Not giving anything away here. We'll see. To be confirmed. But cool. All right, then, Sorrell. Well, listen, if that's everything, I think we can round it up there. Obviously, if you're enjoying the channel, as always, please do like, share, subscribe, and all of those wonderful things. Of course, check out the description, all of Sorrell's details in there, and of course, my other various different social channels. But yeah, anything else before we go?
That's it, mate. That was kind of it. Very Marvel heavy week.
Good stuff. Well, then, until next week, keep it geek.